Have you ever stopped to think about the hidden math behind every single choice you make? Well, today we're going to crack the code on arranging, selecting, and organizing everything. We're talking from your closet all the way to a winning poker hand. Okay, let's jump right in.
I mean, life is just a constant stream of choices, right? But do we ever actually stop to count them? Let's kick things off with a super relatable problem. Meet Erin. She's got 5 tops, 6 skirts, and 4 caps. So the big question is, how many different outfits can she actually create from that? Go ahead, take a guess, and hold that number in your head because we're going to solve it in just a moment.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll lay down the simple foundation of counting. Then, we're jumping into permutations, where, trust me, order is everything. After that, we'll flip the script and look at combinations, where order doesn't matter at all. And to wrap it all up, we'll use everything we've learned to tackle some really tricky arrangement puzzles.
All right, first things first, the foundation. Before we can build these amazing mathematical structures, we have to understand the simple but incredibly powerful rules that hold everything up.
And this is the bedrock. It's called the multiplication rule. And honestly, it's just as simple as it sounds. If you have m ways to do one thing and n ways to do another, you just multiply them together to get the total number of possibilities. So back to Erin's wardrobe dilemma. All we have to do is multiply her choices. 5 tops times 6 skirts times 4 caps, which gives us a whopping 120 possible outfits. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, time to add a new tool to our belt. It's called the factorial, and you'll see it written with an exclamation mark. Don't worry, it's really just a handy shortcut. So 6 factorial, or 6 fact, just means you multiply 6 by every whole number below it, all the way down to 1. This little guy is going to be our go-to for figuring out all the possible ways to arrange a group of items, like, say, lining up 6 people for a photo.
All right, you ready to level up? We are now stepping into the world of permutations. And here, we're going to introduce one critical, game-changing idea: order.
So what is a permutation? Well, it's basically any arrangement where the sequence is absolutely everything. So the arrangement A, B, C is a totally different outcome from B, C, A. The key takeaway here is that with permutations, the specific order matters a lot.
And this little chart shows that key difference perfectly. Think of a permutation like a race. First, second, and third place are unique spots. Runner A getting first and runner B getting second is a completely different result than B getting first and A getting second. But a combination, that's more like picking a team. Choosing player A and then player B gives you the exact same team as choosing B and then A. The order you pick them in doesn't change the final group one bit.
And a horse race is probably the best real-world example of a permutation. The order of finish is the only thing that counts. It's not just which 3 horses were in the top 3, it's the exact sequence they cross that finish line that determines who wins, places, and shows.
Okay, so let's put this into practice. Imagine there are 7 horses in a race. How many different ways can those top 3 spots, the trifecta, be filled? Go on, give it a thought. Remember, order is absolutely everything here.
You know what? We can solve this with our good old multiplication rule. See, there are 7 possible horses that could come in first. Once that's decided, there are only 6 horses left who could possibly get second. And after that, 5 horses are left vying for third place. So we just multiply those choices. 7 times 6 times 5, which gives us 210 possible trifectas.
Now, of course, there's a formal formula for this, and I know it might look a little intimidating, but it's really just a mathematical shortcut for what we literally just did. It's called NPR. Here, N is the total number of things we have to choose from, our 7 horses, and R is how many positions we're filling, our 3 trifecta spots. The formula is just a nice, clean way of saying, start with 7 and multiply the next 3 descending numbers. That's all it is.
But what happens when order is completely and totally irrelevant? Well, that brings us to the other side of this mathematical coin: combinations.
You see, when you're picking players for a basketball team, do you really care if the coach picked the point guard first and the center second, or the other way around? No, of course not. All that matters is who ends up on the final roster. And that right there, that's the core idea of a combination.
So a combination is simply a set where order is ignored. The formula, NCR, looks an awful lot like the one for permutations, but look closely at the bottom part. See that extra R factorial in there? That is the secret ingredient. That's the part of the formula that divides out and removes all the different redundant orderings of the same group, so all we're left with are the truly unique teams. And I'll tell you what, there's no better place to see the raw power of combinations than with a standard deck of 52 cards. Think about it. When you get dealt a hand in poker, you can shuffle those cards around in your hand any way you want. The hand is still the same. The order you received them in is totally meaningless.
Which, of course, brings us to the classic question. From a standard 52-card deck, just how many unique 5-card hands are actually possible? We know the order doesn't matter, so this has to be a combination problem. Any guesses?
Get ready for this. The answer is almost 2.6 million. 2,598,960 possible hands. I mean, wow. That's the mind-blowing power of combinations. It takes something as simple as a deck of cards and reveals a whole universe of possibilities hidden inside. This is why casinos can set odds with such precision. This is the bedrock of probability.
Okay, deep breath. We've got the core tools down, we understand permutations and combinations. So now, it's time for the final challenge. Let's start putting these principles together to solve some trickier, you might even say boss-level problems.
So, what happens when some of your items are identical? Take the word parramatta. It has 10 letters, sure, but a bunch of them are duplicates. We start with 10 factorial for all the letters, but then we have to get rid of the arrangements that look the same. I mean, if you swap one A with another A, the word doesn't change, right? So we divide by the factorials of each repeated letter, the 4 A's, the 2 R's, and the 2 T's, to find the number of truly unique arrangements.
Okay, how about a problem with some rules, some restrictions? Let's arrange 5 boys and 4 girls on a bench, but they have to sit in 2 separate groups. So first we figure out all the ways the boys can arrange themselves within their group. That's 5 factorial. Then we do the same for the girls, which is 4 factorial. But wait, we're not done. The entire group of boys could be on the left side or they could be on the right. That gives us 2 more ways to arrange the groups themselves. So we take all of those numbers and multiply them together for our final answer.
And finally, circular arrangements. These have a really clever little trick. You see, around a circle, there's no head of the table, no clear starting point. So what we do is we pick one person and we just fix their position. We say, you're sitting here. Now, suddenly, everyone else can be arranged relative to that one person. And it basically turns our circle problem into a simple line problem. So for 12 people, we just arrange the other 11, which is simply 11 factorial.
So there you have it. We've gone from organizing a simple closet all the way to calculating millions of possible poker hands. This math of counting is not just about boring formulas. It's really a new lens, a new way of seeing the incredible structure and the staggering number of possibilities hidden in the world all around us. So the only question left is, what are you going to count next?